What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for another FM22 rebuild. Now, I will say this is a bit of a doozy. It's a long one. We are doing a 10-year rebuild of Bradford City. Now, Bradford used to be an established Premier League club back in the day, but fallen on hard times and now find themselves in SkyBet League Two. And not only are they in SkyBet League Two, but they've been down there a while, and they definitely are one of the bigger teams in that division for sure. They have one of the biggest stadiums, especially at that level. So it's only right that we try and put them back at the top again, obviously with a 10-year rebuild. There's no point in just doing 5 years with a team at this part of the English pyramid. We want to see how far we can take them, because otherwise you'd kind of get them into the Premier League maybe in 5 years, and then what could their future be? So we decided to do 10 years with Bradford City. So let's dive into it and take a look at this club. So here we go, guys. This is the history of Bradford City, and as you can see, in the most recent years, it has been somewhat turbulent. They were in the Championship in 2001, 2002, and then were relegated from there into League One, down into League Two. They were promoted and had a spell in League One again throughout the from 2013-14 season until the 2018-19 season, where they were relegated back down into SkyBet League Two. They are a former Emirates FA Cup winner. Yes, that was in 1911. But again, this could be a kind of trophy that we do try and win again. We are using a updated database, so everything is as fresh as it possibly can be in SkyBet League Two. I will point out for the 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 that yes, you have spotted Wrexham in SkyBet League Two. Using the updated databases and stuff that I will leave linked down in the description, we can't fully control the playoff element of stuff. So obviously Wrexham were in the playoffs, they did get promoted in this particular instance. So just one to touch on, just so you're not a full-on purist, but the updated databases are available, which make FM22 as current and as fun and as up-to-date as humanly possible. So yes, we are Bradford City. We are in SkyBet League 2, and we are using this tactic, the GYRFM Master of Puppets. I really like this tactic. I think it's very, very solid throughout the course of the pitch. If we quick pick the best team, this is the team. So we've got Harry Lewis in goal, Oscar Threckeld at right back, Matthew Platt, Luke Hendry, Liam Rydell, Smallwood there, 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪, I'm butchering these, Levi Sutton, Harry Chapman, Jamie Walker, and then Jake Young rounding things off as our best 11 in this 4-3-3. So I'm hoping these guys can kind of do really well. The reason I selected this tactic above some of the others is, one, it is attacking, but also it doesn't have an abundance of instructions. Obviously, where we're starting a little bit lower down the pyramid today, it's probably worth paying attention to stuff like that. So we've got a good little team here ready to go into SkyBet League 2. In terms of the competitions and stuff that we are in, we do have SkyBet League 2, we do have the Emirates FA Cup, we've got the Carabao Cup as well, where we take on Rotherham in the first round, so that's probably not going to go very well. We also have the Papa John's Trophy as well, the pizza trophy, for being that far down the league pyramid. In terms of SkyBet League 2, if we go on to the season preview, we're 13-1 to win the division, which actually I'm quite happy with. I don't want to be predicted as one of the favourites, because then the pressure is on you. Newly promoted Wrexham, however, being one of the favourites, which is quite interesting. We've got some interesting names in this division as well. Some teams that I know will be a little bit more difficult. Newport are always quite difficult. I'm probably going to struggle against Gillingham, as they would have been relegated. Doncaster as well. AFC Wimbledon. Salford, obviously. There are some interesting teams in here, but you'd like to think that Bradford are bigger than most of them. So 13-1 to win the division. I wonder how Season 1 is going to get on whilst we simulate. Turns out a basic 4-3-3 does pretty darn well in SkyBet League 2. We were runaway leaders, winning the title with 102 points. AFC Wimbledon were the team in second with 81 points, and then Crewe Alexandra also get promoted with 80. Mansfield, Newport, Salford and Leyton Orient are all the teams inside the playoffs, and in that relegation zone we have Woking and Swindon Town, which is very very yikes for Swindon. As a Bristol City fan, I find it quite funny. We have got to the 4th round of the Emirates FA Cup, where we were knocked out by Wolves, and we also got to the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup, where we were knocked out by Southampton. Probably should have done a little bit better in the Papa John's Trophy. We were knocked out in the Northern Section 2nd round by Barnsley. So they are a team that are above us in the league pyramid, so not the end of the world altogether. If we go into SkyBet League Two, obviously we don't need to look at the playoffs just yet. Because it doesn't really matter. We will be playing SkyBet League 1 football next season. 46 games in League 2, 32 victories, 6 draws, 8 defeats, 87 goals scored, 35 goals conceded. We scored the most, we conceded the least. It's no huge surprise we won the title. So we've done very, very well, and we will be playing in SkyBet League 1 next season. Now, the big thing are finances at this level and what you guys can do to make your team better. Now, what I will say is start scouting end of contract players. That's a very big must because we have no transfer budget. Our wage budget's increased significantly. Our committed spend is 34,000. Our wage budget is 78,000. Been trying to change the way that the club do things. We're not going to pay loyalty bonuses or signing on fees or anything like that for our players, but we're going to pay them a little bit more in wages because that's where our funds lie. And we have an overall balance at the club of £797. In terms of some of the other things of the club as well, I want to touch on at the end of season 1. We have a regional reputation and adequate youth and training facilities. Obviously, throughout the course of the 10 years, this is something I'm going to build up and up and up as much as humanly possible. Obviously, once you get to the Premier League, if we get to the Premier League, there's going to be an element of Premier League cash coming in, and then you're going to be able to, improve things at a quicker rate. But obviously, we will be trying to improve things as we do progress. But I just wanted to touch on that there. I'm already part of their favoured personnel after 1 season. It's gonna be interesting. They've obviously got a couple of legends in here. Stuart McCall being one of them. Phil Parkinson's gone down as an icon, which is interesting. Obviously they did have the cameo and stuff like that back in the day. So SkyBet League 2 next season is going to be very, very interesting with 0 transfer budget. I wonder what I can do. I wonder what players I can bring in. So before we go into season number 2, there is something I do want to touch on. If you are this far in the footballing pyramid, go and get yourself a senior affiliate. We have done so, and we have got ourselves Manchester City. Now, I did have a couple of options here, but Man City, obviously, with their state-of-the-art facilities and a big squad where not a lot of players are always going to get into it, I had to pick Man City as my senior affiliate. Now, I did need to touch on this before we spoke about transfers because the transfer history is littered with a lot of players. So we're going to talk about some of them right here, right now. So the first and foremost one, we got signed this guy. Ali Reynolds comes in as a central midfield option, a bit of a defensive midfielder. Yes, okay, he's not fantastic, but again, another free player. His wages and breaking the bank. We didn't pay him any sign-on fee. So for playing in League One, I actually think he's okay, if not spectacular. Can play in a couple of roles. Could be deployed at centre-back if really, really required. And we also brought in Jake Foster Casey. Jake Foster Casey. I can't speak today. I really cannot speak today. He is someone who feels like he's been around the game for a long, long time, but he's only 29, meaning he's younger than me, which makes me very sad. He's bounced around lots of clubs, Oxford, MK Dons, Brighton, Charlton, and all of that stuff. He's now a Bradford City player. The board were furious with this transfer. I thought he was okay in terms of some of his attributes. Yeah, okay, his natural fitness isn't there. He tries to play his way out of trouble, doesn't use his weak foot. It's not the end of the world. We're playing in SkyBet League 1 here. None of these players are perfect. But I thought he had everything around him to be an alright player for us throughout the course of the season. He's capped at England under 21 level. Something must have gone majorly wrong for him, and I don't know his story, so I'm not going to comment. Then we move into where you can see a lot of the Man City bodies here. We also signed this guy, 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪𝙗 to come in out right back. He's good enough at tackling, passing. He can cross and dribble. This guy's perfect. He is exactly all I need. His mentals are pretty good as well. Not the end of the world. He has 7 leadership. I'm not too worried about that. But 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, in these mental attributes in SkyBet League One is going to be very, very good. Pretty darn physical as well, again, for someone at that level. 24 years of age, so has some room to grow. Very happy with this free transfer. We also signed this guy, Robbie Gotts from Barrow. Now, we did pay a little bit of cash for him. I believe it was like 83,000. Did I just see that? 83,000 there for this guy, Robbie Gotts. Now, again, I think he's very, very good at this level. Decent enough passing and tackling to get by in central midfield, but really nice determination. 19 work rate is basically the reason I bought him. I just want this guy to just run and just be a hustler throughout the entire course of the season. We also signed Joel, this guy here, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 is how I'm butchering these. Again, this guy is a leader in my opinion, despite only having 13 leadership. He has come out from Swansea, former Manchester City player, so you can kind of see the theme running through things here. High aggression, high bravery, high determination, good work rate on this guy. I think he can go on and probably end up being our captain throughout the course of this, but 3.5-star no-nonsense centre-back. He is a 3-star central defender. This is exactly what we were looking for. We also signed John McAtee as well, a sort of striker, but can also play in some of these other options. We needed another depth option up top behind Jake Young, so we've gone out and got this guy. Again, relatively well-rounded for SkyBet League One. Now we get into some of the Manchester City boys. So we have signed Oscar Bob on loan from Manchester City. We're not paying any wages. We're not paying anything for him to be here. Again, one of the key things about having a senior affiliate. Oscar Bob is here playing League One football for Manchester City to see how good he can be. There's a lot that I like about him. There's also a lot that I dislike about him. But we're just going to see how he gets on for the season. I needed another body there. This guy's completely free for me. Why would I not do it? Then we move into Josh Wilson, 𝘼𝙗𝙗. This guy was at the start of this season in real life in and around the Man City squad before they signed Gomez from Anderlecht. But I think this guy can be very good for us, can play anywhere up that left-hand side. Bit more of an offensive threat than he is a defensive player, in my opinion. But for SkyBet League One, I think this guy is going to be very, very good. We also signed Samuel Edozie, a guy who's just gone out on loan this season, but his contract was over in real life, in the game, sorry. He's a dynamic winger, really high potential. He's only 20 years of age, so we brought him in. I think he can do a job for us on that left-hand side. We've also got Micah Hamilton. This guy, again, another winger / central midfielder, can kind of play in a number of positions. Looking forward to having him in the team. Obviously, a little bit of flexibility as well with him because he can play in so many different spots. And the last Man City player that we did sign is James Trafford, again on loan. No wages, no fee. We needed a good goalkeeper. I feel this guy is a good goalkeeper. In terms of some of the other players that we did sign, Kovar is a backup goalkeeper, was happy to come in as a backup goalkeeper. 7 under-21 caps for the Czech Republic. Well-rounded, is a backup keeper, not the end of the world. We also signed this guy, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, I believe that's Sierra Leone he's from. Relatively solid centre-back at this level again. Hasn't really played in England since he was at Barnet in 2015 to 2017, but again looks very well rounded, offers me exactly what I want for a centre back, so it's not the end of the world. I've signed former Bristol Rovers player Ryan Broom as well. He can play in as a natural in a number of positions as well, so another good squad option. Can play out on the right hand side, can also play in the central midfield if we need him to. So again, Ryan Broom comes in, free transfer, having left Peterborough. And then the final one, we paid some money for a guy, 325k. I did make some budget adjustments because we were so good with our wage budget, and we brought in 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪. Now, I'd never heard of this guy before here. Comes in from UCD over in Ireland. He is a young Irish prospect, I would say, and to be honest, he looks very well rounded. I think he's probably going to be one of our starting players moving forward with this team. So if we do a quick pick of the best 11 that we do have going into season number 2, because there's a lot of transfers there. We've got Trafford, Dooney, Platt, Latty is how I'm going to call this guy's name. Wilson, 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪, Smallwood, Gotts, Broom, Bob, Chapman, Young. And then we've got a lot more depth on the bench as well, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I think ultimately we have a good squad for SkyBet League One, but I think it's probably going to be a step beyond us to To get promoted back to back, I think is probably a step too far. In terms of the season preview, we are predicted to finish in 19th with odds of 50 to 1 to get promoted, which, as I said, I don't think is going to happen this year. I'd like to do a stabilisation year and then push on maybe. We've got the likes of Swansea, Wigan and Rotherham in the division. It's going to be a very tough year. Let's simulate SkyBet League One and see how things get on. So Season 2 is over, and actually we've done pretty darn well in SkyBet League One, if you ask me. We finished in 11th, so sort of mid-table. We had a goal difference of +1. I'm kind of happy with that. Barnsley, Derby were promoted directly. Lincoln, Portsmouth, Swansea and Peterborough all in the playoffs. So as you can see, some very big names here. One thing I will touch on, semi-finalists in the Emirates FA Cup. So we're going to go and have a little look at that, because I don't understand how that's happened, to be perfectly honest. We were knocked out in the third round of the Carabao Cup by Tottenham. What do we think of Tottenham? And then we were knocked out by Man City's under-23s in the Papa John's Trophy, effectively our feeder club at this point. But ultimately, finishing in 11th, top half of the table, I'm happy. 71 points. We are 7 points adrift of the playoffs. I think this is a good platform for us to build on going into season number 3. So if we filter things here, take out all the competitions and then pop in the FA Cup. This has been our run then. Obviously we enter in the first round being a League One side. We took on 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, Sutton, Millwall, Crewe, beat Manchester United in the 5th round, beat Newcastle United in the quarter-finals, and then lose to Fulham in the final. What happened? Alfie Reynolds and Samuel Edozie giving it to Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes playing in that game, scoring a penalty, but they did not want it up in Bradford, that's for sure. And then Newcastle winning away at Newcastle, Wendell scoring twice for them, but we scored lots in extra time, it would appear. 94th minute, 94 plus 1 to take it to extra time, and then we score in the 100 and 117th minute to win the game. Colin Whelan and Harry Chapman doing the job there, and unfortunately maybe we froze at Wembley, who knows. We conceded in the it conceded in the 45th +3 and then the 47th, so right either side of half-time. That is a killer from Fulham, who I can only assume are playing in the Premier League. They are in the Premier League. They just survived in the Premier League. So fair play to Fulham, going all the way, and they will probably have taken on Liverpool in the final, which hasn't happened yet. So we could have been in the final, FA Cup final from a SkyBet League One team. That would have been really, really weird, wouldn't it? In terms of next season and season number 3 though, guys, we do have a little bit of budget to spend. We've got 1.4 million to spend in the transfer budget. We've got a wage budget of 77,000, but because I've been occupying and keeping my eye on the wage budget, we're only spending 41k, so we've got around 35,000 a week in wages and 1.4 million to spend on players in League One. I don't know how legit this is, but we've got 2.7 million pounds in the overall balance as well, so things are moving along quite nicely. Still no improvements on the facilities just yet, but we'll get there. I think we've got an interesting plan in place, an interesting idea in place, and maybe next season we can get the right players in to push forward and get promoted from League One into the Championship. Let's see what I can do with my first lot of money in this save. Right guys, let's talk transfers in. We haven't actually been overly busy. There weren't really players that I felt like would have made a big difference to this team. One of the players who I did think would make a difference is Max O'Leary. Now, this is a Bristol City goalkeeper, a young Irish keeper. Well, he's probably not young anymore. He's 27 years of age in the year 2024, and very well rounded, very similar but a little bit better than James Trafford, who we had on loan last season, but this guy's ours. We bought him from Bristol City for 225k. Not too bad. He did play 4 times for Bristol City in the Premier League last year, conceded 9 goals in 4 games, but could be worse for a team in the Premier League. Fair play to my boys Bristol City for actually getting to the Prem. It doesn't usually happen. We also went out and signed this guy, Ted Bishop, as well. Very well rounded central midfielder. You can kind of see the level that we're aiming ourselves for now. So Ted Bishop comes in. We also signed Matt Penny as well, a cover option effectively for left back. Now I know what you're thinking, guys. You're thinking, Steve, you had all these loanees from Man City, where have they gone? Well, some of them are still here. I have just extended their loans. Wilson Esbrand is still here. We extended his loan for another season. He is currently injured though, with a twisted ankle, and we do have several transfers transfers on the go here. We are trying to sign several players from Manchester City. Finley Burns would be a fantastic one. Yes, we are trying to put in a cheeky offer for Liam Delap. Oscar Bob, again, he's currently going through a contract phase. And we did sign this guy. Got to put in 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕. Now, I signed him using my new gen scouting filter. This guy's a new gen coming out of Bulgaria. We've signed him. He's 16 years of age. We paid some money for him. He will be joining Bradford City on the 1st of the 1st, 2026. There's a lot that I like about this guy. Pretty well-rounded for a central midfielder. Ideal abilities for a box-to-box. He's got 19 determination. He's a promising midfielder. Gets into the opposition area, dictates the tempo, and doesn't dive into tackles on a very good left foot. I think this guy could be really, really good. And I can't wait to get him to the team. And we have paid some money for him. What is the transfer? 400k, which could rise to 1.6 million if he does the business. So we'll have to see there. And we've also signed this guy, Danny Howell from Inter Miami. 5-star potential on this guy. 6'2" centre back who can jump. 17 jumping reach is pretty good. It'd be interesting to see how he does get on even. He joins us in January this year to see how his abilities transfer to English football. But obviously, yeah, we are trying to get a couple more players in from Man City, because why wouldn't you? They do have a couple of good players in their squad that we would really, really like to have in League One. Talking about the competitions that we are in, much the same 4 competitions again. They want us to reach the second round of the Papa John's Trophy, second round of the Carabao Cup, but we are taking on Burnley, so I don't know how realistic that is. Third round of the FA Cup, again, to potentially get ourselves a big tie. And then in SkyBet League One, if we go into the season preview, we are expected to finish in 15th, 33-1 odds to win the division. I don't need to win the division, I just want to get out of it. But there are, as I said, some very large teams in this division this year. Sunderland, Huddersfield and Sheffield Wednesday were all relegated to go alongside Peterborough, Swansea and stuff like that as well. Wigan are here, Bolton are here, Charlton are here. There's a lot of big boys down at this level, so it's going to be interesting to see how we get on. I'd like to get out of this division. Barnsley won it last year. I'd like to get out of this division, or at least be involved in the playoffs. I think that would be a good step forward, a good progression for this Bradford City side. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕. I'll see you guys in a second. So it is the end of season number 3, and we will be playing Championship football in season number 4. We have been promoted. We did not win the division. I said we didn't need to. We just needed to get ourselves out of it, and we have done just that. Portsmouth promoted as champions on 89 points. We finish in second on 86 points and managed to squeak ourselves up in one of those automatic promotion spots. Swansea, Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham and Sunderland rounded off the playoffs, and Swansea were the team that were promoted. Burton, Crawley, Newport and Cambridge all relegated out of the division. So ultimately, a very successful season for us. We've overperformed. The board wanted mid-table. We wanted to push on personally and get in that playoff hunt. We've gone one better, and we finished in the top 2 inside League One, and we will be playing Championship football next season. In terms of some of the other competitions, though, got to the 4th round of the FA Cup this time again, but unfortunately knocked out by Swindon Town, which is very, very disappointing. Knocked out in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup by Fulham, and knocked out by Man City's under-23s in the quarterfinals this stage of the Papa John's Trophy, a competition that we will not be playing in anymore moving forward unless we get relegated. Fingers crossed we don't get relegated. But we will be playing in the Championship next season, which means more money again. 1.2 million again in the budget to spend on players. We've also got a massive wage budget. I've got around 40 grand a week to move players around with in that wage budget, which I'm really looking forward to. This is the challenge, obviously, going out and signing some of these guys. I will say we didn't actually get any other players on loan from Man City last season. It was just Wilson Esbrand, who is turning into quite a really nice left back. I'm really, really pleased with him. I'd love to have him on loan again for the next season. He's now got 71 league appearances for Bradford. I want to continue that, playing in the Championship, because I think he's very much a Championship standard left back. So fingers crossed we can get some business done here. But the boys have done really, really well. I just need to touch on 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕. Fantastic seasons for us since he's come over. So in League One last season, he got 19 and 31. This year, he's got 20 and 39, averaging over a 7, doing the work that we need at the top end of the field. Massive shout out to 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕. Let's go spend some money for season number 4 as we take this Bradford City team into the Championship. Right then, guys, here we are going into season number 4. We have a quick transfer update before we get into too much. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 is here on loan again for the season. We also managed to secure ourselves Finley Burns. Now we are in the championship. He is a good level centre-back for this this sort of tier. 6'5", 16 jumping reach. He's going to score corners for us. That's all you need to know about him. We signed Aaron Ramsey. No, not that one. The one from Aston Villa. He was released by Villa to come in as a central midfielder. Can play in the CM or can play in the central attacking midfield role as well. He only wanted to be a fringe player, so more than happy to bring in Ramsey. We also signed this guy, Daniel Pike. He was unattached, and I don't understand why. He looks like a very well-rounded right back for us. Comes in as a good, partner to go up against 𝘼𝙗𝙤 for that spot. So I think Daniel Pike is a good little acquisition for us. We also signed this guy Wesley. He has been released by Palmeiras over in Brazil. I quite like him, to be perfectly honest. He looks a little bit dynamic, can play on both wings, offers a lot for us. He is strong on his right foot, weak on his left, so he's going to play on the left as that inside forward and sort of try and push his way into the box and score as many goals as he can do. But ultimately, on a free transfer, I'm quite happy with this. He didn't play a lot in Brazil's top flight last season, but his pedigree is pretty good. I'm quite happy with Wesley coming in. We also signed this guy as well, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪. He has come from Burnley, of course. Young Irish centre-back in real life. Natural at centre-back, but can also try and learn to play makeshift left midfield, which is not where we're going to play him. Very well-rounded physically. 6'2", resolute personality. Exactly what we're looking for. I think we're going to be a little bit stronger this season. If we go into the transfer centre as well, we are trying to sign a couple more players. Obviously, 𝘼𝙗𝙤 we've spoken about. We have this guy joining us at some point, Franco Catarozzi. He joins us in January as another central midfield option coming out of Uruguay. So looking forward to him. This is the guy we're trying to sign from Manchester City. Daniel Hoey, new gen coming in. Good jumping reach again, 6'6". Can't head the ball, very Jonathan Tah-esque, but can tackle, has good teamwork. So I'm hoping to sign him on loan for the season for Bradford from our parent club. In terms of everything else, so competitions wise, we are in the championship of a fight bravely against relegation. Yes, please just keep me in the division. They want us to be competitive in the FA Cup and then the second round of the Carabao Cup, but obviously the main aim is the SkyBet Championship. If we look at the season preview, 200 to 1 to win the division. Some huge teams in this in the championship now. Wolves are here, Bournemouth, Watford, Forest, Bristol City, if you count them. I personally probably wouldn't. Burnley, Norwich, obviously Blackburn. There's Middlesbrough. Like, the names that we are going to be coming up against week in, week out here are very, very difficult. And obviously we've got Portsmouth and Swansea who are promoted with us. But looking at this media dream 11, like Raúl Jiménez, Adama Traoré, Goncalo Guedes, like Eric Garcia. What are these players doing at the championship level against my boys? I don't understand. We're going to quick pick without restriction the best 11 just to give you guys a little bit of an update. But 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, Pike, Burns, Big Joel is there, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, Davenport, Gotts, Bishop, Chapman, Wesley, Whelan. This team is probably a SkyBet League One winning team. I know we finished second last year, but this is a team that would win League One. I have no idea how it's going to get on in the championship. So the season is over in the championship, and yes, it's another season of consolidation, which, to be honest, I am really happy with. We did finish down in 13th with 58 points. We're miles away from that playoff push, but as that, you kind of would expect it. We're in the company of Coventry, Ipswich, Millwall, Barnsley, that sort of thing. So to be honest, I'm quite happy with where we are in the championship. Wolves promoted as champions, as would expected. Bristol City promoted back to the Premier League. Why can't this happen in real life, man? Why could this not happen in real life? Norwich and Bournemouth are going to contest a playoff final. My money's on Norwich. They just score a lot more goals than Bournemouth. We got to the fourth round of the FA Cup against Wolves, and were knocked out by the team that won our division. Knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup by Arsenal. So again, not too shabby. Con Whelan just going from strength to strength in terms of his goal scoring for us. Unbelievable season. Another 20 in the league as he stepped up a division as well, which is absolutely massive for him. So really, really good. I'm hoping some of this finance starts to trickle down and we get a little bit more money. QPR, Birmingham and Cardiff all relegated, and we finished above some very big teams here, so I'm hoping we can kind of build on that, maybe push ourselves up to in and around the playoff picture next season. And to do so, we've got a little bit of cash. Again, we've got 900k to spend, 950k, and I've got a little bit of wiggle room in the wage budget around the, you know, the 10-15k mark that I can work with. Overall balance of the club is pretty good. And we have improved the training facilities as well. I will say we now have good training facilities, which is probably kind of what you would expect for a championship club. That's why our budget overall isn't doing as well. Let's go spend some money and see what season 5 can bring us in terms of transfers. So I need to update you guys on some of the transfers. Gospodin has come in, but is unable to get a work permit at the moment. So we're trying to loan this dude out to get some playing time somewhere. He is currently on loan at Karabag, so I'm hoping he gets some good minutes there. We can get him a work permit easy as you like, because 5.6 million, this guy is going to be good. Super well-rounded. Can't wait for him to be in the team and playing for us. We also have to touch on Franco, who comes in. Catarozzi, he came in from Uruguay and did pretty well for us at the back end of last season, but they're the ones that we need to touch on moving things forward. We also signed a couple players here. You know, we raid Man City because why wouldn't we? 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 comes in to be our starting choice centre-back. He was released. He was at Sunderland the season prior. Looks very, very good. Nice positioning is what makes me happy with this guy. Some centre-backs, you know how to be in the right position at the right time, and I'm hoping this guy is one of them. We've also signed this guy, Romeo Lavia, who at the time of recording has not long scored a absolute worldie for Southampton. Really good little player coming out of Man City again. Former Man City player, having been via Anderlecht, been at Southampton and stuff like that as well. But in this particular instance, he's bounced around a lot of clubs on loan: Rotherham, Millwall, Southampton, Blackburn. We've then signed him on a free, and he is going to be one of our main players in that midfield three. So he comes in. We've also signed this guy as well, Kirk Otoe, another new gen coming out of Manchester City to play on that left-hand side. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can also play up top as well. So a good utility option for us coming in from Manchester City. Again, no wages paid for this guy. So with the new improvements with the team, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 is still here for yet another year on loan. We're going to quick pick the best 11. This is the team. O'Leary, Pike, Big Joel and Mbete comes in as the centre-back. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, the two-man City boys linking up there. Davenport, Gott, Lavia as the CM on attack. Otte on the right-hand side. Wesley on the left-hand side. And then the big man, Colm Whelan, up top. Wesley is asking to leave because he wants a new contract. I don't really want to give him a new contract, but we'll have to see what happens throughout the course of the season. In terms of the competitions, again, we've got the FA Cup, we've got the Carabao Cup, is what it is with those. But the SkyBet Championship is our bread and butter. Looking at the table, we start alphabetically in 5th. If we can finish in 5th this season, I will be very, very happy. In terms of that season preview, we're 100 to 1. We are expected to be relegated in 23rd. Look at some of the teams here. West Brom, recently relegated, 1 to 20 to win the division. I've got Leeds and Sheffield United in here. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 is playing in the bloody championship. Leeds manager Mikel Arteta is in the championship with Sinisterra, Damsgaard and Tyler Adams. What is going on? These teams, man, these teams are ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So we need to avoid relegation again this season. Can we build on last season's good showing in the championship in season number 5? Guys, I'm going to be perfectly transparent with you. In season 5, I don't know what's happened here. We've won the championship. With an awful run of form towards the end, it seemed like nobody else wanted to win it. We won it with 85 points. You usually see teams win the championship with 100 or so points. This must have been one of the least contested versions of the championship. I don't really know what to say. Bournemouth beat Reading in the playoff final as well. Let's expand the stages and look at the league table. So we win the league with 85 points, right? Forest get 80 points and get promoted in second. Bournemouth beat Reading in the playoff final to come up. They had 78 points. Swansea, Hull, Millwall, all going down. 85 points last season would have got me in the playoffs. The season prior would have got me in the playoffs. The season prior would have got me in the playoffs. 85 points should not be winning the championship. Like, if you look at this, right, let's look at the seasons that we've had so far. So Fulham, when they won it in real life, got 90 points. Forest the season after, 94, 102, 94, 88. The threshold needs to be much higher. We've had a stinker towards the end of the season as well. If you look at things, we've had a couple of good patches, but then look at how we finished the season. We beat Burnley, lose to Blackpool, lose to Middlesbrough, draw with Watford, beat Forest, lose to Reading. Absolutely horrendous end of the season, but we got ourselves promoted. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, again, the top goal scorer for the club, pushing things on, doing really, really well. Goal every other game since he signed from an Irish side. Played in League One, played in the Championship, and most likely he's going to play in the bloody Premier League next season. Obviously, we're going into the Prem, so we have lots of Prem money. I've just noticed in terms of the team stats as well, if we have a look at stuff, it's behind my face cam at the moment. Editor Jack, maybe if you can move it out of the way, that'd be great. We were the 5th best in terms of goals scored and the 5th best in terms of goals conceded. I have no idea how we finished top of the league. It makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. But season number 6 is going to have Premier League football for Bradford. And we've got a transfer budget of 31.3 million to spend. And I've almost got 400k in the wage budget. So, don't know what I'm going to do with that. Let's play through the summer. And I'll see you in a second for season number 6's transfer update. I have a feeling it's going to be a big one. Oh boy, have we been busy. I've been using my Wonder Kid Finder filter to pull in some unreal talent. Let's introduce you guys to some of the talent that we've brought in. So first and foremost, this guy, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, comes in from Serbia. He is currently coming from TSC. He looks brilliant. He is 6 foot tall. He's got 16 passing, 17 technique, 16 first touch. Great high determination as well. But obviously, because he comes from Serbia, he does not have a work permit. He's got 17 under 21 appearances for Serbia, but he's not made a full national appearance yet. So we've had to, unfortunately, loan him out. He needs to get a work permit. One of the worst things about working in England, dude needs a work permit, which is annoying. He is our best central midfielder, and I've had to loan him out to Feyenoord, a team that are probably better than us, to make them better. He's good on both feet. And we signed this guy because he's come from Serbia for hardly anything, 750k from TSC. Cheers, boys. Thank you very much for that. Nuno Bessa, another player who comes in. He's going to play on the left-hand side for us. He is left-footed, but we're going to try and start maybe training him on the right-hand side. Good high dribbling, good first touch, good determination as well. Great agility, great pace. He's 19 years of age. He's come in for Moreirense for a whopping 15 million. We're starting to spend some cash on these players now. Nuno Bessa comes in, 15 million to be a bit more dynamic for us on the wing. Rick de Schmidt comes in. He is a young player coming out of Belgium, and good heading, good marking, good tackling. He is young though, isn't he? 19 years of age, 5-star potential, as a lot of these players are. Good jumping reach, good bravery, good aggression, good anticipation is kind of just what I want for a centre back. He's only coming in as a squad player, so I'm quite happy with him. Another guy, Hafid Orsini, comes in to play in central midfield. Very well rounded, a little bit of a step up from what we've got, in my opinion. He's kind of on par with Lavia, so really good to see the level of this squad improving. He comes in, we pay 3.4 million for him, 5.25 for Rick de Schmidt as well, 4.4 million then for this guy, Furkan Basar, very well rounded defensive midfielder. I think he's going to be our linchpin in this Premier League team, in this Premier League season, being able to spray the balls, good passing, good technique and stuff like that. He is a little bit short at 5'8". I would like a bigger, taller, stronger player in that position, but 5'8", why not? Let's see what he can do there. And then we pay 3.5 million pounds for this guy, Mikkel Simonsen, coming out of FC Copenhagen. Again, another nice little winger to go on that side, which is why we're trying to train the guy who's super left-footed to play on the right-hand side so that they can both cut in and be a little bit of a danger. 20 years of age, good caps for the Danish youth setup, and again, another 5-star prospect. And the values that we're paying for these players and the values that they are valued at now is vastly different. We've got a couple of others to talk you guys through. Anders Mel comes in on a free transfer, but I couldn't get him a work permit, so he has now gone out on loan to Fenerbahce. Josh Wilson Esbrand, again, his contract's over at Man City. He is now a Bradford City player, which is good because he's been here since League One, which is great. He's been here since League One, played in League One for us, played 2 seasons in the Championship, and now he's our player. He's going to represent us in the Premier League as well. So he came in on a free transfer, which is really nice. Amrani is here. Another striker comes in from Nice. We paid 650k compensation for this guy. Promising striker, nice agility, good finishing. Another good backup to Colm Wilson, who my assistant is actually saying he's better than Colm Wilson, but we shall see. Patrick Kaiser, he comes in from a German side. Very well-rounded right back. Again, another 4.5-star potential player. You can kind of see what we're trying to do here, guys. We spent a lot of money on this guy, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪. He comes in from Barnsley. 15 million we spent on this left back. Very nicely thought of at England on a 21 level. Comes in, looks like a very nice prospect for us. Really fast, good physicals, good stamina as well, so he can get up and down the field. I like what I see about this guy. And then the last one in this season is Noel McGrath. He was transfer listed 650k from Portsmouth. He goes into our youth setup, and I'm going to try and loan him out effectively throughout the course of the season. So the team's pretty good. We've improved the team massively, in my opinion, but annoyingly, all the players can't play. So if we have a look at our team, this is probably what we're going to take into the Premier League. Max O'Leary in goal, Pike, Joel, Mbete, Mia, Lavia, Gotts, Ramsey, Chapman, Besser, Whelan. We're going to give it our best shot, guys, in the Premier League. Well, not Premier League standard. As I said, the team last season was probably good enough to win League One. So we're expected to reach the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup. We enter in the 2nd round, so maybe. They want us to reach the 4th round of the FA Cup. Obviously, we enter in the 3rd round, so that's definitely possible. And then Premier League, fight bravely against relegation. Like in the season preview, we're 1,000 to 1 to win the Prem. That's sort of like Norwich odds when you load up the vanilla database. I don't see it happening. I see us getting battered a lot. Also, we are no longer affiliated with Manchester City because they are a Premier League team. We are a Premier League team, so the affiliation is over. I have just noticed they've got Mbappe to go alongside Erling Haaland. That's a problem for everybody in the division, and Pochettino's the new Newcastle United manager. Premier League and Football Manager is absolutely crazy. Tottenham won it last season. What on earth is going on? Let's simulate and see how many goals we concede in the Premier League, I guess. Season is over, and survival is all that was required, and survival is what we did. We finished in 16th in the Premier League, which I am absolutely ecstatic with. We got 9 victories throughout the course of the season. We beat Leicester, Brentford, Luton, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brentford again, Forest, Villa, and Bournemouth again. So we picked up 9 victories, 9 draws, 20 defeats. We conceded 94 goals. It's the worst in the division, but by picking up enough victories, we've managed to survive relegation. We're 4 points clear of the drop. Everton, Luton, Brentford all going down. Man City resuming normal service and winning the league in season number 6, 99 points for them. So they've done very, very well there. But we've survived. That is the main thing. In terms of some of the competitions, 3rd round of the FA Cup, lost to Villa. 2nd round of the Carabao Cup, lost to Blackburn, but survived in the Premier League. So I think the board are happy with me. Yeah. B. It's all right, isn't it? We're improving the training facilities, improve the youth facilities, and they're also expanding the stadium that we've currently got as well. So if we look now, we've got average youth facilities and great training facilities, but we are working on both of those, so hopefully making these as good as they can be. Now we are in the Premier League, and we got that Premier League money. In terms of going into next season, not a huge amount to talk about. We've got that Premier League cash, as I did say, 40 million to spend on transfers, and another 400-ish K added to the wage budget. Almost got £1 million a week in the transfer budget now. So we're going to go out, we're going to use our Wonder Kid Finder and pick up as many of these new gens before they hit their peak as humanly possible to make this Bradford City team as good as it can be. So we are 7 seasons in to this Bradford City rebuild, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Now we are I'm going to say established Premier League club. We've signed some more players going into this next season. The first one I want to talk about is another Serbian who's come out of Napredak. He is pretty darn good. We signed him in January last season. He didn't have a work permit. Shock, he came from Serbia, he doesn't have a work permit, but we loaned him out last season, played a few games at Anderlecht and brought him straight back. That is 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪 𝙈𝙚. Now I think he can be quite good for us going forward. Then we move into this summer's signings. 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪 comes in, very well-rounded young South African player, 20 years of age, 5-star potential. Again, Shock, cannot get a work permit in England. He's now gone out to Young Boys to see if he can get himself a work permit. Matías Martínez comes in from Racing in Argentina. 5.25 million we spent on this guy. He is a 5-star potential player. He's 19 years of age. He's got 3 caps for the Argentinian under-20s. Very well rounded in terms of his physicals. Has a lot to learn in terms of his mentals, but the technicals for a centre-back are very much there. He has tried to play his way out of trouble. I will be trying to get rid of that from him. Because I think that could well be a problem. We have sold some players, though. I do need to touch on that. Bessa has gone, annoyingly, to Bournemouth. Bournemouth hit his minimum fee release clause. He had a good season with us last year. If we go onto his profile, played 34 times for us in the Premier League, 12 goals, 8 assists. They hit his minimum fee release, and he is unfortunately gone. Wesley also gone. Catarozzi also gone last season. If we go into this season, we've also lost a couple of other players. Rani didn't really play for us last year, so I've let him go. We've made some good profit on him if we take a look at things. Bought him for 850k, sold him for 10.5 million. Strong. That's pretty much most of the money. And Orsini's gone to Lens as well. We've absolutely fleeced Lens this year. 3.4 million paid, 9.75 sold for. Good business, if you ask me. So we went and tried to replace Bessa with this guy, Ivanov, who comes from Sporting. Again, another young Portuguese player. I actually think this guy's probably a little bit more well-rounded to play on that right-hand side. He's got 1 tackle in, though, so fingers crossed he doesn't need to do any of that. Very strong on his left foot. He's going to be the guy cutting in. We've also signed 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪. If you saw my youth-only rebuild of Chelsea, he was very, very good, winning Champions Leagues with us, was 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗. We've also signed Matías 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗. Now, this is the first time I've ever used this guy in FM. I've seen a lot mentioned about him. He comes in from Tottenham on a free transfer. He was on loan at Cardiff City last year in the Championship, so maybe a step into the Premier League is potentially a step too far for a player that Tottenham spent £7.75 million on a while ago. And now I need to talk about this guy, Juan Martín Sancho. Jadon Sancho, eat your heart out. This is my new left winger. He comes in from Boca over in Argentina. He is a wonder kid. He's really fast. He's really agile. He's got great determination. He's fan-bloody-tastic on the ball. He just cannot shoot. He's got finishing a 7. He comes in for £12 million. We reinvest that Bessa money really, really nicely to Juan Martín Sancho here. So the team has changed quite a lot, and by changing quite a lot, I have also changed the tactic. We are going to be running the Swansalona V3 for this because I felt like we were conceding too many because we were using a tactic that was attacking once we got into the Premier League. So I've switched things up and we're going for a 4-2-3-1. And this is the team going forward. Max O'Leary is in goal. Joel is currently the best right back that we have at the team. Basar is the centre back. Mbete, Mia Lavia Davidovic is back. He now has a work permit after his time at Feyenoord. Happy days. So he's going to start for us. Ivanov, Ramsey, Sancho, and 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗 are going to run the line for us. I'm hoping things go pretty well. Competitions, obviously, we have the same 3 comps now. We are in the Premier League. Expected to fight bravely in that Prem. And according to the season preview, yeah, we're 1,000 to 1 again. Let's see what happens in this season with another lot of simulating. We were expected to fight bravely against relegation, and we've done vastly superior to that. We have finished inside 6th. This is what going out and finding these wonder kids can really do. We have finished 6th in the Premier League with Bradford City. Yes, okay, we've got a -7 goal difference. Who cares? We won 19 games throughout the course of the season. We won more games than we lost. We finished in 6th. We finished above Newcastle, finished above Arsenal, and some of these bigger teams that you kind of would expect to finish above us. Newcastle with all their millions. Southampton, Fulham, Derby County, all relegated. Haaland, top goal scorer in the division with 48 goals. That is ludicrous. 48 in a Premier League season. It's mad. As Chelsea win the Premier League, but we finish in 6th and qualify for the Europa Bloody League. We'll be playing Europa League football in season number 8. In terms of some of the other competitions, knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup, by Newcastle, knocked out in the third round of the Carabao Cup by Newcastle. And 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 had a very good season for us. 18 goals for the boy. He is unhappy. Why? Not being able to join Monaco. Yes, we're doing some transfer business, guys. We are trying to improve this team as much as we can do, because we are not a Europa League team by any stretch, but it looks like we can beat teams though, so that's the good thing. That is the main thing. Looking throughout the course of the season, yeah, okay, we lost 8-1 to Man City, but we have picked up victories where we needed to, at home against Southampton, at home against Bournemouth, at home against Forest. Some of these teams that are going to be in and around us: beat Fulham, beat Southampton, drew with Arsenal, beat Villa, beat Brighton. So you can see what we're doing here. We're picking up victories where we need to, but then in some of the instances, like away at Wolves, we just got pumped, conceded 5 away at Liverpool. Nice little runs to end the season here. So maybe as things are ticking over and as our squad are finally getting to find their feet. We are young, guys. Max O'Leary at 32 is the oldest man in our squad by a decent little margin, so we are a young team. And going into season number 8, into the Europa League, we've got 89 million in the overall balance, 65 million to spend on the field, and an extra 200k in the wage budget for me to spend, which is again really nice as we look to move this squad up yet another level from SkyBet League 2 to Europa League in 8 seasons. It's mad. Let's go spend some cash. So then, guys, transfer update going into season number 8. We've got a lot to talk about. We've set a lot of players allowed to go. 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪 goes to Bournemouth for £45 million. Yes, he was our top goal scorer last season, but I wasn't overly happy with him. He is gone. Aaron Ramsey also gone to Bristol City for £12 million. These players aren't really allowing us to get better. There are better options out there for cheaper, smaller salaries, all of that good stuff. So we've gone out and tried to find the best way to make this team better. And let's start with defense, shall we? Reinier 𝘼𝙗 comes in. He comes in from RB Salzburg, 5-star potential, German under 21 international, looks elite tier. Great natural fitness, great balance. He's 6'5". He's good on his feet. He can stay on them. He's brave. He's got good leadership, good positioning as well. Needs to work on being consistent, but again, another big player coming in from RB Salzburg. £7.25 million for his services. He only played 4 times for Salzburg, and I was like, yep, you're good enough for me. We also went out and signed this guy, Ferdy 𝘼𝙗𝙗 is how I'm going to say this guy's name. He comes in, really nice head in, another 6'5" lad, wonder kid, 17 jumping reach, 16 head in. If this guy doesn't score at least 10 headers, I'll be really annoyed. Great positioning, great determination. Again, it's wonder kid, isn't it? Just go out and find them, go out and sign them. We bought him from Fenerbahce for £25 million. He's played a lot for Fenerbahce over the last couple of seasons, so I'm hoping he's ready to take it to the next level in the Premier League and obviously the Europa League. It wouldn't be a save without signing a guy from Red Star, would it? We've gone out and signed Lazovic from Red Star Belgrade. Look at his physicals. He is just amazing. I'm really happy with this guy, and we're going to have 2 Serbians as our double pivot in the middle. You love to see it. We also went out and signed this guy, Matisse Mesta is how I'm going to say this guy's name. Super well-rounded, looks like a kind of reincarnation of Romelu Lukaku because he has come out of Belgium as well. Really nice balance, strong, 83 kilos, nice and brave, good determination. You know he's going to get better. He's got good heading, he's got good finishing. This is the sort of striker we want now, guys. This is the sort of guy we are looking for. He comes out from AA Ghent. We paid £19.5 million for him. He scored 20 goals last season in Belgium, and I'm hoping he can take the Premier League by storm. And then we've also got this guy as well, Sebastian Izquierdo. He comes in, goalkeeper from Sevilla, looks very good. Good natural fitness, good decisions, good determination. He's quick off his line, he's good at rushing out, he's good at one-on-ones. This is exactly what we need, guys. A nice young goalkeeper to be in net for the rest of this save. We paid 40 million for him. Goalkeepers are at a premium in FM, guys, and there aren't that many good ones out there. So when you see a good new Gen 1, you have to go out and sign him. So that's why we had to make some deals happen. We also signed this guy, Alberto, I'm just going to leave it as Alberto because I'm sorry, Spanish people, I'll butcher that last name. He comes in from Atletico Madrid for £24 million. Nicely well-rounded, 6'3" right back, so a nice tall right back option for us. Really improves us in that position as well. Nice balance, nice jumping reach as well, so hopefully he doesn't get beaten to those far post headers. And then the last guy that we've signed here, Taiwo comes in, nice creative option for us. 17 first touch, 16 free kick taking, good flair, good leadership, good determination, all of this good stuff to kind of try and unlock a Premier League defence. We brought him in from Belgium for 7 million quid. Again, not too shabby, but we've moved players on as well. Max O'Leary's gone, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕's gone. All of these players who helped us get to the Premier League, unfortunately, no longer at the level required to play in the Europa League. So this is the team. It's Q, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙕, Martinez, Ferdi, Mia has been here for a while now, Lazovic, Palacios, Ivanov, Gabdamasi, Shaw, Sancho, and Mester up top. This is a very new look team. They're all young. They're all new gens. None of these guys are real players, and there's a reason for that. We are trying to win it with kids. If we go into the analyst report and look at the comparison, we have the youngest squad in the Premier League by quite some margin. The average age of a Premier League squad is 20, almost 28. Ours is almost 22. So quite a big difference here. We're paying people hardly anything. We've got loads of youth international caps. We're doing pretty darn well in this comparison, but we are young, so maybe we do need a little bit more experience. Loads of high potential players. It's going to be interesting to see how we get on. Obviously, some of these competitions, we do have the Europa League. Because we are from England, we enter straight into the group stages, which is quite nice. Emirates FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League table. Go and have a look at the Premier League preview. We've improved, apparently. We're no longer 1,000 to 1, but we are 600 to 1 to win the league. Leeds, Brentford, and West Brom all expected to do better than us. And I've just noticed that half that team, the Media Dream 11, is Man City players. Foden, Chiesa, Addons, Diaz. Yeah, not too bad. Szoboszlai's in the Premier League now. Fofana is at Chelsea. I did this before the update, so that's cool. Fofana's at Chelsea, nice. I did this before the deadline day. Obviously, this was all set up there. So, yes, some very interesting abilities here. Obviously, we are expected to survive in the Premier League, being in the Europa League. So, hopefully, we defy those odds of 600 to 1. Let's simulate the whole year and find out how we get on taking Bradford into Europe. So that's another season in the books, and we do finish in 6th in the Premier League again, so consolidated that season and did really, really well. West Brom, Bristol City, Leeds all relegated. Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham and Manchester United are the top 4. Chelsea finished 5th, we finished 6th, but the eagle-eyed of you will notice the CL next to our name. We're playing Champions League football next season. I'm telling you right now, we're going to win the Champions League! I'm telling you! And it's because we won the bloody Europa League, boys and girls. We beat Liverpool on penalties to win the Europa League. I'll talk through the run in that in a second. We were 5th rounded by Chelsea in the FA Cup, got to the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. We got our objectives done here, but the board expected us to reach the first knockout round of the Europa League, and we went all the way and won it. If we go on to here and take a look at the stages, can I see it as tournament tree? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's have a look at the first knockout round onwards, and you can kind of see our progress. So the first knockout round, obviously, we weren't part of. We won our group. We kind of went through. Then we took on Galatasaray. We beat Galatasaray 4-2. On aggregate. Then we took on Bilbao, beat them 5-2, took on Udinese, beat them 6-0, and then we took on Liverpool in that final, beating them on penalties after a 2-2 draw. If we expand this here, we can take a look. They scored early. Luis Diaz scored. We cancelled that one out by Jandrik scoring a goal from midfield, which is really, really nice to see. Then it went to extra time. Lavia scored for us in the 115th minute. You kind of think we probably won the trophy there, but Alex Scott, the former Bristol City player, Alex Scott doing me dirty here, scores in the 118th minute to take it to penalties. We score all of ours. Who missed for Liverpool? This guy. Jan Tillman, the winger, he missed for Liverpool. It's a player that they've signed from Cologne by the looks of things, missing the penalty, seeing Liverpool unfortunately not win the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League. But we do. Liverpool finishing 7th, have no European competition next season, which is crazy for me to say, as we've lifted the Europa bloody league. In terms of some of our players, though, I have to give a massive shout out to this guy, top goal scorer for us throughout the course of the season. He's developed the consistency trait. His physicals have improved again. I think this guy, I touched and said that he is kind of a reincarnation of Lukaku. It's kind of what he feels like to me. If we go on to his career stats, 16 goals in the Premier League in his debut season for a 20-year-old. yeah, he's good, isn't he? He is good. He's got no cons as well now, which is fantastic. Shows that Wonder Kid filter works an absolute treat. Going into season number 9, though, we're going into the Champions League. We got pretty much 96 million to spend. And I've got an extra like 100k in the wage budget as well. This money is getting serious now. It's getting quite silly because we've got loads of money in the overall balance as well. Some of the club information that I'm going to talk about: we've got great youth facilities and superb training facilities now, national reputation, and I'm also working on signing up our affiliates as well. We've got Phoenix in the US, we've got Vortis in Japan, and we've got Wellington Phoenix in Australia. Again, I've done a video on this, guys. Go and check it out about getting affiliates, because you make some really good money from it, from overseas affiliates. So really would recommend you going and checking that one out. Season number 9, see what we can do. See how we can spend 96 million quid. Right, guys, penultimate season of this Bradford City rebuild, and first and foremost we're going to touch on a couple of players who have left us. Rick De Schmidt has gone to Barnsley, £4.4 million. Kaiser has gone to Ipswich for £3.3 million. Lavia has gone to Lyon for £12 million. Davodik has gone to Rennes for £10 million. This guy ultimately wasn't as good as I thought he was going to be. He kind of got into the team and then declined quite quickly. Mel's gone to Coventry for £3 million, and unfortunately Joel, he's not Champions League level is our Joel. He's been here since League One. He's not Champions League level, unfortunately, so he's gone out on loan to Millwall. Some of the other players that we have signed, though, let's talk about them. Molnar comes in, a young player from TSC. Again, we are raiding Serbia this time around. Super well-rounded central midfielder. Great for me as a box-to-box he will be. Looking forward to seeing him. Jack Ward comes in from West Brom. West Brom were relegated. He had a £39 million release clause for relegation, so I went out and signed him. Very highly thought after young English player again, so it kind of helps with the ratings. Ivan Fantis comes in from PSG, creative central attacking midfielder from the Czech Republic. He was at Victoria Plzen, went to PSG, hasn't really played, was playing for PSG's second team last year. I want him to lead the creative charge in this team in the Premier League. Also went out and signed this guy, Napoleon. Why not? He comes in from Guimarães, which is obviously in Portugal, but he is Brazilian. Comes through their youth setup because they love their Brazilians in Portugal. £3.3 million we pay for Napoleon. Looks pretty well rounded, to be perfectly honest. Good off the ball, good decision making, good anticipation. He can finish as well. Will be a good little backup striker for us. And then we've also signed this guy, 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙕, who obviously couldn't get a work permit, because why would anybody be able to get a work permit in England post-Brexit? So he's had to go out on loan. He is currently at Fenerbahce, so I imagine he will be able to get a work permit for us pretty darn quickly. Good determination, good vision, good passing, good technique. He's really good. I want him in the team. I want him in the squad. And then we signed this guy, Beniamo Porzo. I thought that was a J. It's not. Another central midfielder option. When you sell central midfielders, you need to bring them in. This guy comes in from Anderlecht. A £25.5 million for him. So some good money spent and not a lot recouped, to be perfectly honest with you. But we're about to take Bradford City into the Champions League. Obviously, we enter in the group stages. We've got the Premier League, we've got the FA Cup, we've got the Carabao Cup. I did play the Super Cup. Well, I said I'd played. I simulated over the Super Cup to see how we got on, because we were taking on Barcelona. We beat Barcelona 3-2 in the Super Cup. Juan Martin Sancho scoring the goal, the decisive goal in injury time, or in extra time, right at the end of extra time to get the job done, 119th minute. But this team, this Barcelona team, Koundé, Araujo, Tapsoba, Theo Hernandez, Coop Miners. Is that Bruno Fernandes? It is Bruno Fernandes at Barcelona. Pedri, Fati, Jeremy Pino, and Jota. This Barcelona team is very, very good, and we beat them in extra time to win the Super Cup, which is really, really nice. In terms of the Premier League, though, this is the bread and butter. The mid-table is expected in terms of the season expectations. The board want that. The media think we're going to finish in 12th. We are in the Champions League. We've got odds of 150 to 1 to see how we get on. And Newcastle signed Gvardiol to go alongside Szoboszlai. It's just like they're rebuilding their own RB Leipzig team just in England, which is pretty interesting. So hopefully we can do really well. I think with the Champions League and stuff, we're going to kind of decline, but getting that Champions League money in is going to be super, super key for us throughout the course of this, the remainder of this save, should I say. Let's simulate Season 9. We're almost there, guys. Simulate Season 9 and see how we get on in the Champions League. Season number 9 sees us finish in 4th in the Premier League. We have managed to secure ourselves Champions League football legit this time by going all the way through and winning enough games to finish inside 4th. We beat Arsenal and Leicester in those positions. Tottenham, Newcastle, Manchester United finish in 11th and win and are able to qualify for the Europa League. I assume they've won the Conference League by doing that, or they've won the FA Cup or something to that effect. Man City win the league. Brentford, Bournemouth, Stoke all relegated. But again, another solid season for us. 22 victories, 6 draws, 10 defeats, plus 25 in terms of the goal difference. Now, we've obviously gone out and signed some good players defensively to kind of make us better in those areas. In terms of some of the other competitions, though, we were knocked out the Champions League. I'll talk about that in a second. We had already spoken about the Super Cup. We got to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. We were knocked out by Manchester United, so I assume United did go on and win the FA Cup to put themselves into the Europa League. But we did win the Carabao Cup. We got to the final and we beat West Brom in the final 2-1. So we got ourselves a trophy. Yes, okay, it wasn't the FA Cup that Bradford won in 1911, but it is a Carabao Cup to go alongside the Europa League trophy that we've won already. 𝘼𝙗𝙗𝙪 doing the business, scoring 2 from Cam in that final, doing really nice things, beating West Brom in that final. So happy days. Let's talk about the Champions League run. We're in Champions League Group C. We're in with Milan, Bayern Leverkusen, PSV. We win 5. We lose one of those games. We lose away to AC Milan at the San Siro 2-0. But we do qualify out of our group. Then we move things forward into the Champions League knockout stages. We take on Juve. We lose 4-3 away from home and we beat them 4-1 at home. We get into the quarterfinals. We take on PSG. We beat them 2-1 at home. We draw 3-3 away. We go through. We score 2 goals in injury time, 93rd, 94th minute to make it 3-3 on the night. Going into the semi-finals, we take on Manchester City. We beat Man City 3-0 at home in the semi-final. You think you've booked a journey to the Champions League final, and then you take on Man City at the Etihad, and this happens. Foden scores, Haaland with a quick double, Mbappe and Federico Chiesa. Man City win 5-0. They win 5-3 on aggregate. Absolute stinker. I thought we were going to get there. I really thought we were going to get there. As I was watching this simulate through, I really thought, you know, we're gonna go all the way. We're gonna win some trophies. We're gonna win the Champions League. Not in this save. Not in this save. So we've done really well. We've got Champions League football again for another season. Yeah, it's kind of what happens when you play in the Premier League, isn't it? You've got 130 million pounds in the bank balance, 48 million pounds for me to spend. I've got an extra 100k in transfer budget, but you can kind of see what we're trying to do with this. We've got no debts. We've got a little bit of transfer debt, which is not the end of the world, installments and stuff like that, but it's only 25 million, so we could clear that quite quickly if we needed to. There is some other stuff I want to talk about. Obviously, we're improving the facilities, but we are building a new stadium, which I won't unfortunately get to play in. But we are building a new stadium. If we go on the club information and then we take a look first of all at the affiliates, again we've still got these 3, which as I said I've been working on. We go into the facilities. We've got state-of-the-art training facilities now, superb youth facilities. We are a youth level 1. We've got exceptional academy coaching, exceptional youth recruitment up in Bradford, and we are due to move to the Stuart McCall Stadium in 2033. So it's a new 42,000 seater stadium in Bradford, so looking forward to seeing what that would look like. But we got some cash. We're going to go and spend it going into this final season. 10 seasons with Bradford, and if you guys are still watching, you're an absolute legend. Thank you very much. Let's do season number 10. Right, guys, I know everyone is really tired from sitting here and listening to me. It's going to be over an hour at this point, but I'm going to rattle through as quickly as I can to talk about some of the players, some of the transfers and stuff that's happened. Michael Simonson has gone to Aston Villa, 19 million quid for him. He has gone. We've also sold this guy, René Wretch. I'm really annoyed that this happened. They hit his minimum fee release clause, did Fulham. It was like 47.5 million for a player that we paid 7.25 million pound for. I'm annoyed. He had a very good year last year. Annoyed that happened, so I went out and signed some players. Giorgio Scalvini comes in for 40 million quid, a little bit more experience that we maybe needed in this team. He's a consistent performer, good in big matches, 6'4", another big header of the ball, good concentration and stuff like that. So I'm hoping he can come in and kind of fill that void that we've left there. We also signed James Ward-Prowse on a free transfer. He was on a free transfer. He's 36 years of age. He can still take a set piece. That is why he's here. So when he needs to play in central midfield, he can still pass. He can still take 20 for free kicks, 20 for corners. That's why he's here. 19 leadership as well. I think he can come in and be a good positive influence on the rest of this team. I also do have to talk about a transfer that I'm trying to make happen right now, which is this guy, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪. He is a absolutely electric centre back. He's playing for England now. He's 21 years of age. I want him at my team. He is from Leicester. I want him to be my centre back, but it's not happened just yet. In terms of the competitions that we're in for season number 10, Carabao Cup, they don't care about anymore. It's how times have changed. Quarterfinals for the FA Cup. They want us to reach the first knockout round of the Champions League. Obviously, the group stage draw hasn't happened yet, and they want us to finish in the top half of the Premier League season. And we are expected to finish in 8th now. According to the media preview, we have a much better team. We have a much better run of things. And if we quick pick without restriction the best 11 going into season number 10, these are the boys. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, 𝘼𝙗𝙁, Martinez, 𝘼𝙗𝙁, Mia, Lazovic, Porzo, Ivanov, Fantis, Sancho, Mezda. This team is fantastic. We're so young, we're so dynamic, we're so athletic. Lots of the players are wanted, but ultimately we're really young and we're kind of lacking a little bit of experience. So I'm hoping things go well in season number 10. Let's simulate this final season and see what happens. So it seems like season 10 was a little bit too much for us, and maybe the Premier League has kind of caught up with us. Maybe some of the turnover in the squad hasn't helped either. Maybe we don't have enough leaders, we don't have enough experience. I'm not really sure, but we finish in 9th in the Premier League. Again, not actually a bad finish for a team the size of Bradford. We're 2 points outside of those kind of European spots. And, you know, 11 points away from the Champions League as Arsenal win the Premier League, which is very, very interesting. Manchester United really struggling, down in 14th, and Simeone is their manager. Diego Simeone is now their manager, which is really interesting to see. But we didn't do too well there. In terms of some of the other competitions, knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup by Chelsea, knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup by Brighton and Hove Albion, knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League by Real Madrid. Not really convincing there. 1-1 at Bradford, and then we lose 4-0 at the Bernabeu. Vinicius Jr. just absolutely ripping us apart. So unfortunately, not the fairy tale finish of winning the Premier League or the Champions League or anything like that. But Bradford have come a long, long way since I took over in League Two. They now have superb youth facilities and state-of-the-art training facilities. They have a continental reputation. I am now listed as an icon of the club. And we've done some really, really good stuff. If we go on, we've added a UEFA Super Cup, we've added a Europa League, we've added another SkyBet Championship, and we've added a Carabao Cup, along with the SkyBet League Two trophy. We've been really good. Our rise has been pretty meteoric, to be fair, and now we are an established Premier League team, and we will be moving into a new stadium at the end of the next season. And if you guys wanted to take over this team with Bradford City, you can do so via the link in the description. You can find my Discord. The Discord community's got over 2,500 members in it now, talking about Football Manager on a daily basis. So if that's up for you, come on in and join the community, and you can pick up this save. I will post the save file probably tomorrow once this video's gone live, so that you guys can carry on this journey with Bradford City and see if you can win the Premier League or win the Champions League like I couldn't do. I just want to say thank you to you guys for sitting here, if you are still here right now, for over an hour, because I really do appreciate it. These 10-year rebuilds do take some time, so please do go and show this video some love, drop a like on it, all of that good stuff. If you do like the rebuilds, guys, check out this playlist popping up here, which is all the rebuilds I've done of all the teams in FM22.